There were several of my teammates, given an 18-day layoff, would have gotten out of shape. You know, it had too much fun on the street. 18 days is like an eternity in the regular season.
Rich Rodriguez gave them a weekend off, their first time off since the 4th of July. And a flag down as they go on the reverse, and oh boy, 3 flags. Laundry everywhere. Darius Reynaud likely will see a big game wiped out. First flag thrown prior to the snap, and sure enough, 27 yards for Reynaud will not stand.
The officials ran out of yellows.
I just wonder if there were actually 3 different infractions, because there were 3 flags thrown all at different points in that play.
That's what 18 days. You talk about those things that can get you.
There are 2 fouls on the play against the offense. The foul for illegal formation, 6 men on the line of scrimmage, is declined. A foul for holding, number 65, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
And this is just, again, execution, 18 days off. But you can see in here the 6, back and back. Got to get them up front. You got to have your 7 up front, and they didn't have 7 on the line of scrimmage, and then the holding other side. And so you're a little crisp and jittery out there. You've been off. You're excited to play again. National television. Sometimes the mind's not quite ready.
So the hold on Jeremy Sheffy at right guard is the penalty that's marked off. And back on the ground, Steve Slayton knocked backwards a couple yards to the 8.
I think it's a real good idea for Connecticut to stop Slayton before he begins.
You don't think he's already begun?
Yes, but what I'm saying is you better make sure that if you're going to get in there, that you get in there early, because just like number 40 did there, Maine, he worked his way into the backfield. Don't let Slayton get the motor running on a play.
USA Today, National Player of the Year for his 6-touchdown, 188-yard performance against Louisville. Quarterback draw, White. And he loses 2. Back to the 6, hit by Rayma Fuller, junior defensive tackle. Another Floridian from Cocoa.
And a very nice job of Connecticut's defense on the defensive line of seeing the ball. You notice that their lane assignments are there. They're finding the football and coming off blocks. And that's something that Connecticut's defense has been working on. Defensive linemen getting off the blocks, linebackers finding the gap they're supposed to be in.
3rd and Wheeling. Last possession, they had great field position inside the Husky 40. Took advantage for the touchdown. Now they back up, starting from their own 20. And from his own end zone, White overthrows the intended receiver, Reynaud. Pretty important here for UConn to turn this defensive stand into field position, because I don't think they can count on too many 80-yard marches tonight.
Now, at some point, the West Virginia offensive line will set their pads. They'll get into a rhythm, and that's what happened to them last year at home against West Virginia. UConn's defense did really well for about 2.5 quarters, and then they finally just wore out. So you're right. Execution here for the offense, very important that they come out and that Dennis Brown have some success.
Todd Orlando's group forces Phil Brady to stand 8 yards deep in his end zone, and gets off a punt that goes backwards, as did that entire possession for the Mountaineers. Out at the 32-yard line. There's 26 yards on the punt. Saturday, ABC's regional college football features this huge matchup in the Big Ten. Number 14, Wisconsin. Number 10, Penn State. Others will see Missouri, Colorado. Key for the Big 12 North, North Carolina State, Florida State, or Cal, Oregon. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Can you believe that we're down? Tonight's November 2nd, that we're talking about the backside of some teams only have 2 games remaining? It's phenomenal.
And then there is UConn, which started September 1st and will wrap up December 3rd when they take on Louisville. Knocked backwards, Cornell Brockington on his first carry. The junior from Burlington, New Jersey, with a familiar last name, the cousin of former Ohio State Green Bay Packer running back John Brockington.
I like him. Brockington last year had a heck of a season, and a beautiful night. Got to get the motor running.
Middle of the first quarter. Mountain View Field, Morgantown, 7-0. Steve Slayton with a 1-yard scoring dive. on the second possession of the night for West Virginia. Dave Barnett, Craig James, and Holly Rowe from Morgantown. Screen set up nicely for Cawley. And he breaks tackles, finally knocked out at the 25. Terry Cawley just 5'7", 187. Finally corralled by D. McCann.
And the coaching staff said that getting the ball in the flats in Cawley's hands was very important. They have to get away from the speed and the movement inside of West Virginia. Cawley has the athletic ability to get out there and compete and challenge, and a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 are situations that Dennis Brown can live with.
3rd and 3 here from the 25 of the Mountaineers. Is going to be stopped a yard shy of the first. Mike Lorello, who has, according to his coaches, one of the best knacks they have seen for beating blocks, whether it's on a blitz, as we saw in that last possession, or coming up to stop the quarterback option, as we see him do here.
And I think Randy Edsall is dead on with this right here. 41 yards. His program is at the level now. You've got to have a kicker that can go out and kick. This guy has experience. He's done this before. You need points on the board right now.
Matt Nuzzi is their all-time leading scorer and all-time field goal leader. Somewhat an inconsistent season this year. He's 8 out of 14. Plenty of leg, and he's good. And UConn on the board. Nuzzi, the junior from Trumbull, Connecticut, with 6:45 in the first. It's 7-3, West Virginia. On to 100yardblitz.com and enter tonight's code word Mountaineer. Your chance to win an HD TV. 7-3 West Virginia. 6:45 in the first. After his 41-yard field goal, Matt Nuzzi with the Huskies on the board. A very high, short, pushed out of bounds kick. And we've already seen a couple of those tonight. One by each kicker.
Well, I'm all for directional kicks, but gee,
The procedure, kicking team, free kick out of bounds, place at the 35-yard line, first down.
Ollie Rowe, Craig mentioned the fact that it's really benefited West Virginia, the fact that freshmen can come in and have a summer to get used to college football now.
You know, Rich Rodriguez really credits that with their fast start. He says not only do they get acclimated to campus life, but they get in condition. He said most of his team hit fall camp already conditioned for the season, and so they were able to spend more time teaching instead of running and conditioning.
And in this 18-day layoff, they kind of had a mini camp, White keeping for 8 yards. With that much time, even though they didn't know the entire period it would stretch out as long as it did, they thought they would have an off Saturday, a game at South Florida, and because of the midweek situation now, they were going to be off last Saturday anyway. But he said, well, all that time we took advantage of it and kind of went back to some of the things we would have been working on had it been August. So fundamentally, he's hoping that they will be especially sharp despite all that time off, as well as fresh. So after the 8-yard keeper, White has it under center at 2nd and 2. And Slayton bounced off the first hit, and for 5'10", 185, shows some power there. Finally into Ryan Hennigan, the middle linebacker.
And I drew right before the snap. You see how tight Connecticut's linebackers play. They want to be up around the ball, and they want to create confusion. They want to get in and have their gap responsibilities. And I think it's a good call. In a game like this here, again, with Slayton as fast as he is, you need to be there before he picks up that speed.
Their first order of business this week, must stop run, force the pass. Here's the pass, and Renard works hard for just a couple yards up to the 47, hit there by the strong side backer, James Hargrave.
Oh, wasn't that great pursuit getting out there? And right now you're seeing a Connecticut defense that supports what Randy Edsall told us. He said, I have a young, inexperienced team. It doesn't mean they're not talented, but this is part of, it's almost like Dan Orlovsky's gone and all that group, and they did their thing, and they went to the bowl, and they had their success. Now he has to replace it, and so it's a good stage, I believe, in a young program's career here to be able to come in here and start replacing some of the former stars.
How about the burst by the fullback, Owen Schmidt? their leading rusher against Maryland. He averaged better than 13 yards on his 6 carries, and he must have really taken a wallop to be slow and limping at 6'3", 245.
We sit here in the defense. They're paying attention to Slayton, and they're worried about the quarterback running, and all of a sudden Schmidt, your fullback, has really good instincts as a runner inside and a big body at 6'3", 245. And more than likely, I mean, not as a former runner, I can guess a little bit here, I'd like a good thigh shot, No
thanks. Division III Wisconsin River Falls transfer, walk-on, and he not only takes the punishment, but he will dish it out too. That is his face mask from their last game. It's not the way it's going to look at the start of tonight's game, but he leads with the face and dishes out more than he takes. He took a hit from Darius Butler here.
And you know what? There are a lot of guys on a football team that have to go in and sneak a hit on their bench or locker so that it looks scarred up like they really played. Schmidt's not one of those. He's going to go do it on the field.
1st and 10, Mountaineers, 40-yard line of the Huskies. And again, White keeping. Pickup of about 4 down to Holly.
Well, guys, you looked at that face mask. It was so bent up. That was actually in Rich Rodriguez's office. He took that to show to his team the philosophy that they want to have. He's calling it face mask philosophy. Get in there. Don't be afraid to get your face in the fan and mix it up. He said, I'm going to put that on a plaque or something and keep that to show guys just how he got in there and banged it up with 3 touchdowns against Maryland. He wants everybody to play that hard.
Hey, and in a little bit, Holly, I want you to tell everybody about the flip the switch deal that Rodriguez has. I think that was pretty cool as well.
On 2nd down and 6, Reynaud, who had a 27-yarder, wiped out by penalty. 1st down, drag down, out of bounds at the 25 by Hargrave. 11 this time for Darius.
And I've been watching Connecticut's defense and their discipline and trying to stay at home, but you have to blanket from corner to corner. Reynaud has a lot of speed, but you can't underestimate the speed. The big block being downfield on the corner, and it allowed Reynaud to get around for the big play. Now, this really forces Connecticut to check their whole card to make sure they're staying at home.
And how about West Virginia going 1 series later right back to that reverse? Defended a little bit better, no flag this time. Jason Colson, who began the season as a starter, quickly played his way out of that role with 3 fumbles in the opener against Syracuse, but still in the rotation at tailback.
Well, you know what? I tell you what, Holly, you talk about flipping that switch. That offensive line up front, I imagine they flip that switch every time they get the call.
No gain, 2nd down and 10. As Slayton returns. And West Virginia will have to burn a timeout.
Virginia, first of the half.
And Holly, when you go to Rich Rodriguez's locker room, you see the sign that Craig's referring to.
That's right. And what he's referring to is he wants an intensity and a fierceness, almost a meanness when they come out onto this football field for practice and for games. And so there's a sign right across the top of the locker room when they step onto the field that says flip the switch. But keeping in mind that he doesn't want his guys getting in trouble and being aggressive off the field, there's also another sign when they walk back in that says flip it back. I think that's a great philosophy, is he wants that aggressiveness in the right time and the right place, but flipping it back when they have to go back to class and to the community.
Yeah, you know what, Holly, it's so important to know how to do both of them. And in today's time with the media being like it is, you can't get away with anything, and that's what Rodriguez is talking about. When you walk in here, hey, flip it on. We're on. We're watching film, it's on. When we're in pads practicing, it's on. But when you leave the locker room, you become a student. And there's a different level there. There's a different switch there.
You know, the other thing about the face mask business, wanting his players to hit facing whatever it is they're hitting. The other thing that's important about that is if you're doing that, you're not using the top of your helmet, which is where the catastrophic neck and spinal injuries happen. So it's 2 things that happen both good when you use your face mask.
It's just about attitude. You know, Rich is I love talking to him. You know, I'd enjoyed playing with him. You know, and so now he's wanting guys who have that same level of intensity and focus that play for the West Virginia Mountaineers.
After their timeout, 2nd and 10. White in the shotgun.